to know, like, what's gone on with Edmonton. I mean, I know the owner. He's one of the smartest, one of the most incredible leaders. Daryl Cates, very smart guy, an intelligent man. Always been very intuitive in picking the right people to be around him with any business. Very successful businessman, very wealthy man, great Canadian Titan. I don't understand. It's been 3, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. He can't get that team to click. Between coaching, between general managers, it's a team that was a dynasty that I never thought would fall into this mediocre state
of disrepair,
way of being managed.
And Frank, in fairness to your pal, whom I don't know, and I hate to even say this because I think very highly of Kevin Lowe as a person, but
right.
He made the wrong choice for management. He's got a bad group of managers in there. So is
that what you think it is? The administration is.
It eventually has to come to that. They picked 3 guys number 1 in the draft, and they've picked high in other areas, and they're not even being entertaining. Somebody's missed the boat. And I don't think it's the owner. I just think that he put his faith in the wrong people. And as I said to you, I reluctantly say that because I think Kevin Lowe was a great guy. He was a client of mine when I worked with Alan Eagleson. I knew his mom and his dad had passed away, but I knew the whole family, and I think the world of him. But that doesn't mean that he was going to be a good general manager. And
you know what, Billy? Of all the things we've been talking about with Edmonton, the one constant is Kevin Lowe.
Yes,
I agree with you. I think he's a big guy and nice and all that other. He's been the only constant.
Yeah, and he's hired and fired good people. He brought Mac T in here, who brought in Dallas Eakins. That's 3 wrongs do not make a right.
So I'm understanding now that it's not just been the team, it's been the actual driver, because the Ferrari's only as good as the driver. If you get a terrible driver, he gets in a Ferrari, he's going to smash it against the fucking wall and destroy it. So they haven't found the right person to drive that team. Am I understanding what you guys are saying?
Yeah, and then if they use the wrong driver for too long, Frank, they'll ruin the team because the parts of the car are very strong because they've been rated by all the peers in the NHL to be very strong, but they're not producing at that level. They're either using the wrong fuel or the wrong guy is putting the fuel in the engine. And eventually it has to come down to that.
Well,
and I wouldn't be surprised if he just I wouldn't be surprised if he just cleans house.
But
I don't know what other option he has.
I think that's the point. I think you have to go radical now, and I mean, I'm a big fan of Edmonton. I'm a big fan of the dynasty. What a great team for many years. Some of my greatest watching of hockey was the Dallas Stars against the Edmonton Oilers. Like three seasons in a row, they played each other in the playoffs, and it was the most unbelievable hockey I ever witnessed. It was like a grudge match. It was like the Clash of the Titans. It was an incredible. Eddie Golfer was unbelievable in 2 of those seasons, and
Curtis Joseph was unbelievable in the third. That's where Curtis Joseph earned all his money. Was that third series when they won the one series, Frank, when Edmonton won, and Joseph was so good. The next year he was signed by Toronto.
Yeah.
And from that point on, it's history.
So did Curtis Joseph? I mixed it up. I thought Curtis Joseph went from Edmonton to St. Louis and then to Toronto, or was it from St. Louis he went to Edmonton?
St. Louis, Edmonton, then Toronto.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But Frank, you know Daryl Cates. You know Daryl Cates very well. Very successful businessman, runs Rexall.
He owns Rexall.
He's very, very successful. There was talk that he was possibly going to, move the team to Seattle unless they got concessions from the city. It's now about Daryl Cates. We're talking about Kevin Lowe and everyone beneath him. You know Daryl Cates. Is he the type of guy that would make this drastic change?
I think Daryl Cates is a very bright man. He's one of the smartest and one of the most loyal human beings, a great Canadian. I think that he's a great businessman in the sense that he hires people to do jobs. But I think it comes to a point, and he's not a meddler. He's not like a Harold Ballard. He's not a guy who meddles. He gets people to do the job. And then he deals with those people, not the job that they're supposed to do with those people. And I think that once he's had enough, he's gonna be radical, because fucking world who's ambitious likes to lose. So I think he's had enough of it.
And the question is, at what point does he make that drastic? How much longer do you...
I think now. I mean, it was a disaster. The last few games have been a disaster. I mean, people are some of the greatest hockey fans in the world live in Edmonton, and they're diehard fans, and they're screaming bloody murder. They're upset. It's all over the press of how the team is playing right now.
Well, they have ample reason to do that, Frank. I think it's 8 years without being in the playoffs. It's almost as bad as the Leafs were. And you know, they're comparable in a lot of ways, only in the sense that they have a rich heritage, and they don't like to embarrass that heritage, particularly in Edmonton.
100%.
And they've got
100%.
He has to react to that. I hope he finds another way of doing it. I don't want to see Kevin Logan fired. But as Phil said, Lowe is synonymous with their lack of success.
Well, you know what? The buck stops with the person, and you got to be a big boy. And if things go poorly in my business, I'm the guy. I'm the guy who's responsible, and I'm the guy who's going to take the blame. And Lowe's going to take the blame, which he should.